Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Big E.
I'm Eli, a.k.a. The Real Half Pricer.
What it do, what it is, everybody? It's your boy A-Tiz, and you are now tuned into the Rise and Grind podcast. Today, we got a real special guest, an actor, a stand-up comedian, a writer, and a producer, Mr. Andy Juett.
The big AJ, the no TikTok AJ, a.k.a. Scrambled eggs. I don't know.
Nice,
I got
nice.
Scrambled eggs. I like the scrambled eggs.
I like the sunglasses, by the way, too.
I just wanted to, there's not a lot of opportunities you come in. You guys have such a cool setup. I know all of you personally, and
right on.
I love and care about everybody here. I just wanted to come in an environment where I know I could look like Damon Wayans in 1999.
Oh, yeah.
Courtside, just for a second, and just feel important. For 2 minutes, like hey,
the man.
Yeah, just like
Well, you're a celebrity over here.
Yeah, dude, you're big time in here.
Big time over here.
Yeah. Yep. You guys are my children. That's it.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So who are you? Tell me in your words who you are.
Okay.
Who is Andy?
Wow. We're getting deep out of it's like you go to class and you prepare all semester, and then the teacher's final exam is just why.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what we're about here.
Just why?
Just fill it up.
Yep.
Well, I am, like you said, I'm an actor, producer, done and made a lot of comedy. Not actively like much of a stand-up, and kind of never was in some ways.
Yeah.
But like performing, yes, for sure. I'm an actor, producer, writer, director, but I also am an ad man. I'm a father. I'm actually a grandfather now, which is bananas.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Congratulations.
Okay.
Yeah, that's wild. Thank you. And, I'm just somebody who is trying to enjoy the time we have here. That's it. We're all just trying to do things that matter to us and leave the world a little bit better place than we came into it, hopefully. That's it.
Exactly.
Nice. So how did we meet you?
Yeah. So for many, many years, like, I don't know, some chunk of the last 25 years, at least 15 or 16 of them, I've run radio and television stations in Denver, Colorado, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Fort Collins, and kind of in other markets as well, but from Denver. And so I was one of the managers at Max Media here in Denver. We had Jammin' 101.5 and Flow 107.1, which were respectively an R&B station and a hip-hop station. And we partnered in one of your great businesses, or actually a couple of your great businesses. DTF Express helped us make some great T-shirts. So you guys just stood out as cool dudes, number one. But also you make great products, so that was easy.
Oh, yeah.
And then, we did some things with Out the Box and had Lopez on the air.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing.
Yep, Lopez.
And he still gets compliments to this day about that ad on the air.
Oh, it was all A-Tiz and you guys, because, you guys sent me the audio and then I just put a wrapping around it that made it sound good.
I actually cut that in the back room.
On the phone, right?
Yeah. On the phone.
Yeah. But we like plussed it up, right?
It was amazing, dude. It came out awesome.
Yeah, I think it did. It was like, big announcement. Here comes Lopez, and then Lopez talks and is hilarious and cool.
Yep.
I like how he says Pokemon for Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
I like how he talk about, he doesn't, one of the funniest things about all of it was you guys also pimp Mom and Pops, which is your other business down the street on Washington. Everyone should go check out. But he's like, with the Pokemon products, you can also come see us at Mom and Pops.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Anime groups.
Everybody that's right.
It was like a
beautiful
Italian,
anime figures.
It was an Italian-Mexican fusion.
Yeah.
But it stood out. I remember that was one thing about listening to those ads on the radio, is like that and the DTF ad like stood out from all those ads. Maybe it was because it was our businesses, but I'm like, dude, these ads are amazing.
They absolutely did. And it's part of why I really enjoyed working with you guys is, everything is sort of in a box and everybody's doing the same thing. Everyone's wearing the same clothes, flexing on the same shit on the internet, whatever. And then here comes Lopez just cutting through like a knife.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, who is this guy? What is this? And then if you did any research at all, you find out it's just this great, funny, hilarious, weird puppet that you guys do. Mm-hmm. And, but like you said, the accent, obviously, forgive me for my poor attempt, but it was like I was just in Europe, and it feels like you said, it's just sort of an ambiguous, sort of Mexican, sort of Italian, sort of whatever. I was just in Europe, and like, you're always of course, conscientious of not making terrible stereotypes of any kind, right? But like, you know, in Europe, you're walking around, like I was in Amsterdam for like 10 days and like, you hear everything. Someone's from Turkey and Germany and France and England and, you know, Spain or whatever. And it's just like, you can walk around there and be like, how you say whatever. And then it's like, oh, I shouldn't say that. And then you literally open your ears and literally every person in Europe is using an ambiguous, broken English accent from wherever they're from. And it's fantastic. That's awesome. And you know, I think so you're funny voices can be okay if they're used correctly.
So Lopez could fit in over there.
Lopez would kill in Europe. Yeah. Amsterdam, if you had Lopez show up at a coffee shop or a tiny little cabaret and do like a comedy set, people would lose their minds. They'd just be blowing trees and having Heinekens and
we need to set up a tour.
Wide tour.
Yeah.
We could do that. I mean, there's venues there. They want comedy, and you could do it in. We could do it in London. There's a handful. You can string some dates together if you wanted to do. If you put together a Lopez Live or a Rise and Grind Live.
Yeah, he needs to bring all his friends and have them
Lopez
open.
even has a stunt double, so we could do like multiple shows at the same time.
Yeah, get paid. Double.
Oh yeah. What do you guys call? Wait, what do you call the stunt double?
His name's Craig.
Craig.
Well, he has a few different names.
Yeah, Craig.
I mean, we called him Slopez.
It depends on the day.
Lopez.
Yes.
I think he went by
Jimmy for a minute.
Yeah, he goes by a whole bunch of different names. You know.
I love it. How you say
he's
Craig?
not officially, a citizen.
Yeah, no.
You know.
It's like.
Well, he's a citizen.
It's like when someone comes here from another country and like they have a really complicated name and they're like, "My name's Gary."
Yeah.
Or whatever, which makes sense.
Yeah. We've done some crazy stuff with Lopez. I mean, we sold ramen noodles for like $40 because they just wanted them and we actually almost bought a pickle company just so that we can promote Lopez.
So we could brand
Lopez's Pickles?
Yeah, Lopez's Pickles.
There's got to be somebody that can help you with
Well, we were close.
We white label anything.
We had a local
pickle farmer, I guess.
Yeah, that was...
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
and then once they see Lopez...
He didn't like the concept of Lopez being on his pickle.
Yeah, he didn't want Lopez. But Lopez would have sold the pickle,
He was down with you guys. He wasn't down with Lopez.
And like his sales...
Not everyone's ready for Lopez, and I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
What he made a year, we were already offering him 4 times that.
Yeah, so
you know what I mean?
He was up front and he told us, because they were getting T-shirts made.
Yeah.
And they were up front and they told us, this is how much we make a year. And I came to Eli and I'm like, how much should we buy this pickle company?
Yeah, and we're like, let's do it. Let's offer them more money than they've made. And we only wanted 1 year.
Yeah.
You know?
Lopez's likability is very high, right? Yeah. Like everybody has traits. And if it was like a magic card or something, likability, Lopez is like a +9, +10, like in that area.
Yeah, he's up there, 10.5.
So you put that dude on some pickles.
Yeah, we've had to fire a few people with Lopez.
What about? I mean, I would call him Low Pickles with a Z, with a Z, because you can't spell Low Pickles without Lopez.
Yeah, there you go.
I love that.
You know,
and
I think
kicking out ideas, huh?
Oh yeah.
I think
let me write this down.
We birthed it right here.
Yeah,
we're gonna stay tuned. We're gonna plug now. Lowpickles.com, LOPICK.
Better go buy that, bro.
Go get that jar.
Low Pickles
with Lopez and his pickles.
I mean, we might just go to Sam's Club and buy pickles and.
Dude, Lopez should have a spicy one, a sweet one, and then like one surprise. Yeah.
Like a mystery pickle.
Mystery pickle.
Yeah,
mystery pickle's good.
Pickle.
Yeah, that's unheard of right now, kind of. Yeah, that'd be kind of
mystery pickle.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like that.
Atiz showed me the Lopez trading cards one time, man.
Oh yeah,
Lopez trading cards are. I still have the ones you gave me. They're next level.
The next thing coming out is a Funko.
Oh
yeah, he's gonna have his own Funko.
Dude, that's so funny.
It's gonna be awesome.
I love it.
So Andy, how did you fall in love with comedy?
I would probably just from growing up in Detroit with my family. My family, watched all the funny movies and all the funny shows and SNL, and it was all sort of like part of the curriculum of growing up in my family.
Nice.
My mom was an educator, and so she was really interested in me reading, writing, doing math, all that type of stuff. Yeah. But also at night we'd watch,
SNL.
Cheers and,
so they have a good sense of humor.
I'd watch Living Color and, things that me and my brother like. And then, later we'd stay up late and they'd let us watch stuff like that. Or I had a little black and white TV in my basement and I'd watch Letterman. you know, and Conan, and like be, you know, when I was supposed to be sleeping, and just be like fascinated. It's how little you need to make comedy great, because it was just this little 12-inch black and white TV, which makes me sound like I'm 100. Don't worry, folks. There was a big color Magnavox out in the. That's right. But in my mom's TV from college, you know, or whatever it was, I watched a lot of late night, and I just, you know, I don't know. I think between them sort of imparting it and also just like dealing with life, coping wise through laughter.
Exactly.
You know, it's like there's so much sad shit for us and everybody else all the time, obviously varying. Like, we're very fortunate, the people in the room, but like there's crazy bad shit happening down the block and around the world. And then you have your own traumas and shit. Yep. So I think I just fill the air with lightheartedness as much as I can in general. Yeah.
So that's real genuine.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this much. I got into a rabbit hole when I was looking up your videos. Glenn, tell me more about Glenn. Are you Glenn deep down? Is that you? Like,
yeah, no, that's a great question. I think there is a little bit of me and Glenn for sure, in the sense that I enjoy confusing people with words and actions as a mechanism of comedy.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, if you go watch it, Glenn Has Ideas was something that was originally on the front page of Funny or Die, like Will Ferrell and Adam McKay and Chris Henschey's website, that I think it's still going.
Yeah.
And they're producing lots of things. But at the time, it was sort of the gold standard if you got on Funny or Die, it's like you're going to get some views.
Yeah.
And so we did some episodes for that. Like we shot it, and then they just accepted it. So I shot it with a couple buddies. This guy Matty O'Connor, who is now a DJ, and another guy named Andrew Bueno, and they sort of co-directed it. And we pretty much wrote it all on the fly. It's all improvised nonsense in an environment, an office environment. And Andrew Orvidal and I sort of quote unquote created Glenn and the characters. Andrew Orvidal is a funny comic he lives here in Denver, that was on a true TV show called Those Who Can't for like 4 seasons. I produced the pilot of that one originally for Amazon, actually, before it got bought by Turner. And long story long, I just like, from a young age, it's in my stand-up act, but the last day of my freshman year at Boston College, I got my freshman girlfriend pregnant. So I didn't have the opportunity I didn't think it was a good idea to go to LA and live on a couch and make movies. Yeah. You know, I was at Boston College at the time watching Matt Damon and Ben Affleck going, that looks like a pretty good plan.
Yeah.
And you know, I decided, you know, I'd get a quote real job. So I got into this, essentially the sales world super early to pay for my family's life. And so being a sales asshole is pretty much the easiest thing in the world for me. Like, nice. We can just start talking about bullshit and I got you. I'm like, whatever. Yeah. Now, and so Glenn Has Ideas, which you can watch on YouTube. It's just on an old YouTube channel. There's 9 episodes. It's got great guests that are all huge now. Like Rory Scovel. Rory Scovel's HBO special's out right now. He's on an episode. Dan Soder has an HBO special. He's a guest on one episode. Sean Patton, a bunch of other guys. So, it was a blast to make. We shot all those episodes in the temporary headquarters at the Illegal Pete's offices.
Okay.
Because Pete Turner was a partner of mine in High Plains Comedy Festival when we started that together. And, you know, he was really generous about letting us just use the office. And we went in there for a couple days and improvised like a motherfucker and had.
So it took less than a week to get that whole 9 episodes filmed.
Oh yeah. I think we did that in like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And we just blasted, awesome. And we just had good people shooting, good people lighting.
What kind of budget? Sound. What kind of budget does something like that take?
That was a love of the game one. That was a love of the game. The budget was almost nothing because we all just wanted to make something cool by any means necessary.
That's the conversation we were just having. It's like, how do we get to that level?
Yeah.
And that's inspiring.
Yeah.
I mean, not just to us, but to anybody listening that wants to jump in. And nowadays, what do you need? Just a phone and some lights?
Yeah, I mean, we shot on real cameras and we didn't light like crazy. We wanted it to look like, you know, an office, like the way like Tires just came out on Netflix, Shane Gillis's deal. It's not like overlit at all. It looks like a fucking tire shop. Yep. You know, that office looks like every and Glenn has ideas, every neon light. You know, so we didn't overlight, but we had great people making it.
And I was focused on the actors. I didn't even really notice the background at all. I noticed it was in the office, but I'm like, dude, this is amazing. This is a good little. I'm surprised there's not more of it. You know?
Yeah, no. People ask me about it all the time, which is really cool because even though it was like, you know, you go look, there's like not a zillion views on it. It was when it was on Funny or Die. People asked about it a lot, and still do. They're like, oh, can I still see that? And then they go and they see that those episodes are still up. So,
well, we definitely want to be on the next episode.
Right. It's easy to produce. Like, I think that, you know, maybe if Andrew wanted to do it, I would consider it. But, you know, it's fun to just go somewhere. The whole conceit of the show was just me making Andrew's character, who was my boss, life miserable.
Yeah. Nice.
Every episode. And being able to do that was really funny and fun. Because just watching somebody eat shit at the hands of, you know, a lunatic is always funny.
Yeah.
Like how's this dude still have a job? That's what I was questioning. You know? And at the end he gets fired. Okay. Big spoiler. Episode 9, he gets fired, but then so does Andrew's character, and the boss of the company gives me a bunch of money for my big dream idea, which is edible mouse pads. And, you know, which even then, like, no one's using mouse pads. Like, it's all horrible. The whole idea is every idea he has is fucking terrible. I feel like he's always talking about his family members that are dying, and every time there's like weird family pictures on the desk, and you know, he's like, one time they froze to death, the other time they died at a train fire. Like, he always has a different story. And Andrew
always questions the story, and
that's what makes it fun and you know, great.
Yeah, hey, internet, go rekindle interest in Glenn Has Ideas. It's easy to make.
Let's make it go viral. Let's really make this go viral.
It's still funny. I mean, I think it like fits. You could drop it in.
That's the best is when years down the road you can, you know, some of the best movies, right? Or
cult classics.
Yeah, I mean, you just go back and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing, you know?
Eli, I think what you said, though, about like how much it cost, it's like the whole bit is like people ask all the time. It's like, how did you do this? Or how did you get involved in this movie or TV or whatever, or the radio stations, whatever. It's like the real answer is doing shit for free for a long time and getting your teeth kicked in and hopefully and for years. And so then, you know, and part of that is finding other people in a community of people, which is part of why the Denver comedy scene was so good for so long. Because there's just a lot of people that are outside the purview of any industry, just making stuff because they want to make good shit.
Yeah, and not everybody wants a paycheck. Like some people, when you talk about this kind of project, their first question is like, well, how much does it pay?
You know, well, I think we live in 2024, and I think, you know, that thing was probably shot, 2015, 2014? And, you know, also the economics of Denver was different.
Totally
there were way more artists and musicians and people like that living downtown, and that has all been, people have moved away, moved to Texas, California, wherever else for comedy or otherwise, or the suburbs. So there's, like, I think there were more people then that understood to make your way, you've got to do it for love of the game for a while. So that you have actual skills to do whatever, or following, or whatever you're into.
So why, you know, like you said, a lot of people moved away. Why are you here? You know, and that's what we love, right? Born and raised Colorado. I love Colorado. I did move away for a few years to Utah, and I came back and said, I will never leave Colorado again. You know, this is just my home. And now, of course, I have so many roots, businesses, whatnot.
Sure.
But why? Why are you still here?
Well, to be fair, I did leave for a while and then I came back, but there's a couple of reasons. One, I left because I thought, you know, there was a number of things kind of going reasonably well and some opportunities in Los Angeles. So I'd never had the opportunity. Like I was married young, I had kids young, to kind of go out and see what it's all about and potentially sell my wares in that arena. And so I did that for a few years. But what I found was I was coming back every month, like at least one weekend a month for like over a year. And I'm like, this is to try and, because I'm like a very involved dad and grandfather and all that stuff. Or I was just a dad at the time. But then I was, it's just like, I realized like I can be in LA, and I am in LA, like for $100 plane flight all the time. Yeah, and the Denver International Airport for all the hilarious, conspiracy theories or bitching about the construction or any of the elements of the airport, it has direct flights to everywhere in the goddamn world, especially LA. Like the four of us could be like, hey, let's go there tonight for some
chicken and waffles,
except for a game and In-N-Out, and you can get there for a couple $100 probably today.
No, exactly.
So for a cell phone bill, through the technology miracle of airplane travel, it's just my family's here. That's why I'm here.
Okay.
And also because I love Colorado. Yeah. Right. And I grew up in Detroit, but I got here as fast as I could.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My family jokes. My dad's the oldest of 9, and a couple of his, my aunts and uncles, his brothers, whatever, were like, when I first moved, they're like, well, you moved as far away as possible. I'm like, well, I got here and I kind of love it, so I just don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
That's good because we love it too, and like I said, I'll never leave.
And I'm sure the medical marijuana don't help, right?
Yeah, everybody knows I hate cannabis.
Yeah.
I certainly love cannabis. I think that there's a lot of things in Denver dynamically, including cannabis, that are great reasons to stay.
Oh yeah.
And are great boons to the community that still Colorado and Denver specifically has, right? That a lot of the rest of the country does not have.
No, exactly.
And so have you ever jumped into that kind of business though? Or
cannabis?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, in some capacity, I'm still in it in the sense that since it's become a legal quantity here, our radio stations were the first real stations to take, we talked to our FCC lawyers back in the day and convinced them that, that cannabis is a good risk because it's a state legal thing, but we're operating on a federally regulated antenna.
Yeah.
And so there's some risk there. And like back in the day when Howard Stern, there was always concern CBS and Infinity Broadcasting were concerned that Stern would get in trouble. It wasn't just because they were like being corporate dummies, which of course, yes, they were. But it was because if you get every antenna in the whole country is regulated by local standards. Yeah, so it's like if he says something terrible and outlandish, in the Kansas City market, and the Kansas City, like people in LA might be like, oh, he's just crazy, or New York or whatever. But if say in Kansas City, they get hundreds and hundreds of complaints, it's a 3-strike policy. If they're provable complaints that do actually violate the rules of the SEC, they can lose the entire antenna.
Oh,
holy shit.
3 strikes.
Yeah.
That's the rules. Has been for years.
That's crazy.
So with cannabis, we're sort of playing chicken the whole time, taking cannabis advertising for 15 years.
Because they have the most money, correct? Is that?
I mean, it's a growing industry, and because of how regulated every aspect of the cannabis business in the state of Colorado is, there's not a lot of, there are less traditional places for cannabis businesses to advertise.
Oh, okay.
So when they found out they could be on mass market radio, 7 out of 10 of them in a meeting are like, wait, are you serious? You're doing this right now? Wait, you've been doing this for 10 years? Like, wait, and that was 15 years? Like, how is this possible? So we, when our stations went away a few months ago, they were bought by a Christian broadcaster. And so Jamma 101.5 and Flow 107.1 are gone now. But until the end, from the time we started taking that business in 2010 or whatever it was, even right around legalization, they never stopped because it's like, who's going to say no to a couple $1 million in business?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Every year, guaranteed.
Yep.
And by the way, it works because we're local people that take care of the local clients.
Yeah.
And it's like where you're going to buy something that's 10 ads at the guy down the street at the corporate radio station, we're going to give you 50 ads. Because we want you to keep writing checks and be happy and get customers. Yep. And we were in control of that piece of the media. So we'd like to think that cannabis and otherwise, we did a good job with that. But so when you say, have you ever been in that business? With radio and advertising, I actually own an ad agency right now called Ad Chief, CHEEF. And so go check it out. But if you need advertising for your business, I have cannabis clients on right now because I'm trying to help them navigate what they can actually advertise on.
Yeah.
Because it's very much, awesome. There's great avenues, but they're very much piecemeal.
Okay.
So on digital, there's rules. Print, there's rules. TV and radio, there's rules. And then I'm involved in a lot of cannabis events because that's another place to market cannabis that is legal or close to legal, depending. Everyone's doing as much as they can without. Hopefully, they're trying not to break the rules and get a violation and lose their license.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Which is their bread and butter to keep growing stuff. So I'm knee deep in pot. We can talk about cannabis all day, and if we need to more, we probably will by accident because I'm still very much involved in it. I've got clients right now, and also, cannabis as an investor has fueled a lot of my and our creative endeavors in Denver.
That's awesome.
Like Incredibles, Rick Scarpello and Bob Esquino were producers on a pilot I shot in 2019 with Michael Madsen and 3 of the 5 Super Troopers dudes and me and this French actress named Mathilde Olivier. And in the whole episode, Jay wears an Incredibles apron. Jay Chandrasekhar from Super Troopers.
Yeah.
From Broken Lizard. So like there's, and Live Well actually was part of that too. So like PharmaCann bought Live Well, but there's a poster in the background of it, of a guy receiving cannabis delivery through a drone. Oh, he's like hanging off of a cliff with his one arm, and he's reaching out to a drone that's delivering him a jar of weed.
That's awesome.
Because the show is set in a few years in the future.
Gotcha.
And the idea is that it's like a big ad for Live Well. So So like I think there are ways like that's just product placement in essentially what became a film festival film.
That's tight.
Wow.
That some people have seen, and there's a million ways to get creative and exploit your cannabis brand beyond hiring, a rapper or an actor or an influencer and then just having them, talk about it nonstop on social media. There's a million other ways.
You gotta think outside the box.
Right?
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yep.
That's right. That's right.
That's what we're all
get
about.
out the box.
Right?
Yeah,
out the box.
It's all about
Right.
out the box. So
Out the box in Thornton, Colorado. Yep.
Yo, guys, before we jump into our next segment, we're going to hear a word from our sponsors.
This podcast is brought to you by Out the Box.
Out the Box is located in Thornton, Colorado, 10215 Washington Street. That baby is open 7 days a week, so make sure you go check him out. The ultimate toy shop in Thornton, Colorado. Out the Box.
So how did you get from being a salesperson to kind of where you're at now? Like you jumped into sales because you got a family.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So then how did you take it to the next level?
Yeah, well, for many years, it was like I did radio in Lansing, Michigan, because I graduated from Michigan State. So I was the president of the Michigan State University Advertising Association. And all that meant was in college, every Monday night, 39 Mondays a year, it was my job to set up speakers to come talk to our advertising school.
Okay.
Because Michigan State has a very good communication school. It's like rated one of the best in the country advertising programs, undergrad. And so I knew everybody that could hire me, right?
Yeah.
And so in Chicago, Detroit, and Lansing, we would have people come in and talk about how you can live in this. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. I have a family. I'm going to get into this. I'm not going to go make $30,000 a year at the time and work 80 hours a week and work my way up at an ad agency as a practical thing. I want to be my family too much. Yeah. So the former president of the MSU Advertising Association was this great girl named Julie Kipp. And Julie went into media, radio sales, and she immediately started doing well, right? Nice. And so I had this other woman, Linda Grigg from Griggs Media in Lansing, who was like sort of a mentor. She recommended me to this radio station in Lansing. I got there and started making 60, 80 grand right away, versus the 30 or 40 that you would make at an agency trying to buddy up with the higher ups and move up upward mobility.
Yep.
And so my boss came to Colorado Springs from Lansing, and he said, "Hey, you want to come out and help me run these radio stations in Springs?" I came out and visited. That was it. And then the transition became from when I moved to Denver and got divorced. There was more of an opportunity here than in Colorado Springs to do crazy shit. Because Colorado Springs, great spot, very conservative community. It's not as like open to funky, weird lunatics, just regular gun-toting lunatics.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. I'm not talking politics. I'm just saying as a matter of fact, right? It's just it's like, military evangelical Christian. It's just a different vibe down there.
Yeah.
And so I got to Denver and I'm like, oh, there's all these cool people that I'm friends with, like on MySpace,
right?
That I'm like, oh, I could be friends with them in real life because we live down the street now.
Yep.
And so I reached out to some people on MySpace.
This is MySpace era.
Yeah,
MySpace era. 08.
That was a great era.
Yep. Oh, dude, it was. We were living, boys.
Yeah.
And 07, 08 on MySpace-ish, I went to a comedy festival in Aspen, the HBO U.S. Comedy Arts Festival. I met everybody, dude. I'm talking everybody. I met a lot of people. I met, Seth MacFarlane and.
Oh, that's awesome.
Fucking Stephen Colbert was at his height, and like David Koechner from Anchorman, and like, all these dudes, Russell Simmons before he got busted for being gross, like I was like, oh, that's the richest person I've ever met. I was like, am I going in the right direction? I don't know. And I was just like, wow, this could be like, I really like looked at this festival. I was like, this could be like a job. Like this is like people that I understand and make sense to me. So awesome. When I started running Max Media the first time in Denver, and we were Hot 107.1, and which was top 40 originally, and then became electronic dance music. We were the biggest electronic dance music terrestrial radio station in the world. That was that was a crazy ride, and then bringing Jam on 101.5 back. I love sales. I love doing all that stuff. I love being creative, including advertising, which a lot of people don't understand, but that's cool. And I started producing and doing comedy shows at night while I was running the sales department.
So that became your like side gig.
Yeah. So I would go, I'd run a sales meeting at 8 a.m., grind all day. And then at 5 or 6 o'clock at night, I'd get ready to go either perform a show or produce a show.
Yeah.
Be out till, go to the first show at 7, go to the next show at 9 or 10 o'clock. Hey, everyone's smoking weed late night at whatever at midnight. I go to bed at 2 o'clock, wake up at 7, go do advertising again.
All over.
I don't think people really understand that to do what we do, it takes very little sleep.
Yeah.
That's how stuff gets done is I don't sleep.
We live in a society and a time where everything just sort of happens, right?
Yeah.
And there's very little understanding of the engineering, technology, blood, sweat, tears, physics, math that goes into these things happening. They're like, how are you doing this? And really a lot of times when somebody says, hey, how'd you get that? What they're really saying is, I don't think you're worthy of getting that. And I don't understand how you're doing it and I'm not.
Wow.
And the answer is, like I've gotten acting jobs from people where there's like me and it's like literally another guy I know. And I got it because I'm nice and professional.
Yep.
Exactly.
And that other person, like anytime, and by the way, I've been this person a lot and it's all called growth, but like when you're egoing out and, oh, this should be happening for me, or you get pissed when somebody else gets something or any of those things, it's like, there's plenty for everybody.
Plenty.
And it's like, if you're treating it like you're above the deal, that's when all of the mistakes in my or anyone's life happen.
Yep.
And that's our philosophy here. I mean, you don't know how many people are like, hey, can we tour your warehouse? Because we want to start it too. And we're like, yeah, come on, let's show.
Learn the
help.
shit.
We'll help you out. There's a billion people in this world. Like, there's enough for everybody to have a piece, So that's awesome.
So the answer is, long story answer is, you just got to do it while you're doing other shit.
Yeah.
How bad do you want to do it?
And not complain about it.
Yeah, I mean, you can complain to your friends. I mean, and you can complain to your family, but they get tired of it pretty quick. It's like, you chose this, dude. You chose this. Yep. So it's like,
it's just a full-time hustle.
We'll be as empathetic as we can, but I could be selling oil and gas and tech and be making $300,000-$400,000 a year doing this, that, and the other, you know, and I'm not, because I don't. That's not the money part of that is not, and the easy path to that, quote unquote, is not what life's about.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what do I want to be doing with my life? So you got to like find a way to do it any means necessary and do it for free a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then go, hey, I'm worth this. Yeah. And then get really good at asking for money.
Yep. That's some good philosophy right there. Because a lot of people just want, right? They start something and they're like, I should be paid right now.
Let's be honest. Not even a lot of people. Almost everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody now wants to be famous or be a billionaire or a millionaire and drive a Lambo and a Ferrari. And they see this shit all the time, like all of us included, on X and Instagram and TikTok and all the shit. And it's like, they think that these people are just have no problems and aren't depressed, aren't anxious, don't have major trauma, don't have family issues, don't have work issues.
Yeah, not putting 15 hours a day in.
Yeah. And some of them are putting in crazy time and some aren't. So they think that they don't have to, when the reality is that is such a narrow lane. And everybody being famous now has sort of, it's killed movie stars. It's killed TV stars. It's like athletes. People are like, who cares? You know, like athletes maybe are a little exempt because they're like have such a unique body type and skill that, you know, that we don't. And so I think we still look at them as like gladiators and so forth. But you know, I just think it's interesting how like there's so few people that want to do what needs to happen to be great.
Yeah, well, anybody could be a TikTok musician now. I'm seeing, you know. You know, so it's like.
Well, and the old guard gets pissed about the new guard getting famous that way, of course.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what's that $1 million baby guy, Tommy, whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's like all of a sudden, like Tommy, he's been making music for 5, 6, 8 years or something, but like that song goes big, and then the people that have been grinding are like, fuck that guy. Because you know, because you know. Teenagers are passing that shit around, and then it's ubiquitous. That's what happens these days.
I think one of my biggest pet peeves is when, you know, you get something for yourself and someone's like, oh, that must be nice. You can do this or you can do that. It's like, yeah, but you don't see what must be nice had to, you know, what I had to do to get that.
What goes into that?
How many hours are we constantly
how many hours away from my family? How many hours away? How many times you screw up a relationships?
How many late nights?
How much you could lose yourself for a while in that process?
You get lost. You do.
And you go, oh wait, I'm fucking up. I need to get back on the path. Who am I really? You know, we all have those moments. I think that like Albert Brooks talks about. How like he doesn't like YouTube because you can't just fuck up anonymously for years before you're good. Everyone sees your shitty first stand-up sets. I got stuff on the internet that's like old that is like I didn't even know it was being taped, you know, and it's like not that good a stand-up or whatever. It was just like a really niche thing that was happening, and it's like, you know, and you can't kind of screw up anonymously, and you can't really screw up a lot in general. I'm not here trying to be Seinfeld talking about cancel culture. Because I don't feel that way generally. But I do think that, you know, there's not a lot of room for error these days.
If everybody's watching.
Yeah. And it's like, I think just forget the cancellation part or not, or the controversy or the debate about that. It's just like, we all need to be people, dude. Like, I woke up this morning and I had coffee and a bagel and eggs with vegetables in it and whatever, and everybody's doing that every day.
You put your pants on the same way everybody
else.
That's
right. And I've got friends that are super famous and super wealthy and people that are just that funny or just that talented who have none of it. And guess what? Big spoiler, the people still have the same problems when when they have money. Yeah, there's a few things that, you know, that can help, and I'm not suggesting that it can't and so forth. But the real human elements never go away. Who cares that this person's in this movie? Who cares that we're local businessmen? Who cares? Like, whatever. Everyone's living their own life, you know? And so just having respect for everybody, trying to do that and fuck up as little as possible in that realm, that's what you want to do.
Right. You're giving us bangers all morning, bro.
Gems right now.
Well, it's like Michael Jordan said, right? It's like you have to fail 8 trillion times. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's like
everything we talk about.
Failure is part of the process.
If you can't fail, you're never going to make it.
Yeah. It's like Federer or Nadal or one of those tennis players the other day was just talking about how, I think it was Federer maybe. He's like, arguably, Djokovic is probably the best player now because he surpassed him. But by far. Federer is right there. And the point was, this is like some stat, like he only won like 57% of his points lifetime. Yeah. It's like, you know how many failed points that is? Yeah. Thousands and thousands. Yeah. But he's sharpening his saw. Yeah, exactly. Getting better so that when he has to actually do the job, he's prepared for it. Yeah. Yep. And in a completely anxious society filled with ADHD people, myself included, like you can spend a lot of time thinking about what you're not doing. Yeah, no,
it's nasty. You fall in that pit. Yep.
Yeah, we had this conversation last episode. Yeah, we don't think we're doing enough ever sometimes, you know?
Yeah, I'm laying in bed thinking of 10 things that I need to get done. And I shouldn't be laying in bed.
Well, you're right. It's like part of why it was like when you guys were like, hey, do you want to do the podcast? It's like, hell yeah, I love these guys. Yep. That's a fun thing for me to do and part of how I'd love to be spending my time. Yeah. But like, because right now, all I'm doing is building this advertising company. That's all I'm doing right now. Oh, yeah, like, and I'm not all, there's some things trying to be sold over here that are like, you know, creative TV movie stuff. But like the bread and butter is like, I'm building this business. I have these clients. We do a good job. Digital production wise, whatever. It's all the same as when I was in radio. I just don't work for media anymore. And honestly, I'm enjoying it. And you know, I have small fireworks companies that I work with for 4th of July coming up. That's seasonal business, and big ass brands that are like in Colorado. And so,
well, we definitely appreciate you giving us, I mean, cause honestly, when it comes down to it, we're really nothing into your world. Do you know what I mean? Like we're pretty small and you know, we just starting out and honestly, we had this conversation like, hey, how do we get Andy on the show?
Yeah. You know? That's easy. We're always going to be buds, but you guys are examples of people using creativity
to get it
to your benefit. In a, you know, market 17 where, you know, you're selling XYZ in this market, but you're also, you know, capable, like with a lot of your digital shit, of shipping anywhere and have clients all over. And it's like, I was just in Amsterdam. Like I have a client, a restaurant group that just signed with us that I'm going to be doing all their advertising in Amsterdam.
Yeah, dude. Wow. That's awesome.
And there's an unannounced, really close to signed thing with a big football team, also known as soccer in Europe that I'm working on, which would be crazy. Yeah. You know, but it's all because, you know, when you go and talk to people, it's like people can smell like, all right, this is, you know, all in this person's interest or whatever. But if you make it all about other people, if you make it about like what's important to Eli, what's important to Ernesto, what's important to Anthony, and vice versa, like now we're all working towards a common ground. We're all respecting each other's time.
It's a whole lot of positive energy.
Yeah, it's positivity and it's accountability, like going, okay, there's so many ad people or film or TV people that will collect a check. But, you know, do I want to work with this person again? Because, you know, that's where the rubber meets the road. Where those places and times in my life where I've fallen short in that have all been learning experiences.
All. It has to be.
Has to be.
You got to evolve every day.
So one of my memories with Andy is working with Andy is that Too Short show.
Oh yeah,
do you remember that night?
At the one at the hotel.
Yeah, the hotel.
Oh yeah. Shout out the DoubleTree, Greenwood Village.
Yep.
Aaron Alberding, the GM there, has moved on. He's now at a hotel in Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That was more than I thought it would be. Like it was so much busier than I anticipated that to be, and we probably needed more help. Like, probably needed another.
Well, it was like the only comment that my staff had was that if you guys were there longer after, and we probably would have sold way more shirts. Like we definitely sold some shirts, and that was great. But like they were probably, if it was the sole focus was just selling the most amount, y'all would have been at the booth, whatever, all that.
Yeah.
But also we're mixing. It's a good example, Ernesto, of mixing things that we enjoy doing.
Yep.
And business.
Yep.
So it's like if you were like, God, I'm gonna grind out another $1,000, $3,000 worth of sales in this, whatever, then you would have done that. But like. We were all focused also. It's like fucking this Too Short show. It's like an intimate thing. It's like these are fun adventures.
Dude, I was so tired. I didn't even see the Too Short show after that. It was so much like more than I thought. Like so many people there that wanted shirts. We were pressing them on the spot. Like that's the thing. We were pressing them as they were paying for them.
These guys pimp their stuff all the time, but I have to do it as a third party client of theirs. DTF Express rules. And just to be clear, folks, it's DTFX, not EX, DTFexpress.com.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not being paid to say this, whatever. They're great. If you need anything, shirts, banners, signs, embroidery, any of that shit, these guys know what they're doing.
Appreciate
we're
that.
trying to be a big name in this market. And it's been hard, a lot of long nights. And honestly, the presses that you probably saw us using, we actually are done using those just because it's so much work.
All automated now.
That now we're using all automated, and we can go we triple our production, because of that, and
because of that event. That event opened our eyes and we're like, whoa, this ain't.
We got to find something different. You know what I mean?
But that's beautiful because, like, my son is actually in Europe right now doing this business program. And he's like, oh my God, like he's a college student and he's like working for this company this summer. And he like called me the other day. He's like, holy shit. He's like, they're working me to the bone.
Yeah.
He has to drive like 30 minutes on a bike in crazy streets, dangerous streets to get to work every morning.
Yeah.
And then when he gets back, there's like group activities and you still have to eat and do laundry. And he's doing a class during work hours. Oh, wow. Like he has to zoom in for an hour while he eats lunch and the professor's pissed at him eating. It's the only time he could eat. Yeah. But the point was, God, bring me back on the tracks here. How do we get to
productivity?
Yeah. It's like, I'm telling him like each thing is preparing you for the next thing.
Yeah. You always got to keep that in mind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we have anxiety about, oh shit, we got to the Too Short show. This press is not cranking as fast as we need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. How do we adjust in the future? Yeah. What other products exist? Could we do with this system for 2 more months, 6 more months, another year, until we can generate the revenue to buy this next printing machine.
Yep.
So I encourage everybody who's just like sort of filled with anxiety to just do a lot of the stuff you're anxious about, and you will blast through the sludge of your brain tricking you into telling you no, and then all of a sudden you know how to do a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a quote, the success is behind the work that you don't want to do.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I buy that. Yeah. It's like it's definitely like in a lot of cases, of course, like things where your brain and your mind are telling you, oh, like this is going to be hard. It's like usually sometimes it's going to be hard and you shouldn't do it because it's just not worth it and you're overthinking. 80% of the time, it's something that is the most worthwhile.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I like the challenge of it too. So lately I just, when something seems hard, it's just like, okay, this would be another challenge for me to kind of adapt to,
Well, it's like even we're in a beautiful podcast studio. There's multiple mics, multiple cameras, cool mixing board, great backdrop, great branding. Like when you guys started this podcast or whatever first version of the podcast or live stream, you had one phone.
Yeah, we didn't know.
Actually,
and now you got 5 phones,
mess ups,
4 mics.
We got a pretty crazy phone plan right now, right?
Yeah. But it's good because you've prepped, you've continued to sharpen the saw, you've continued to get better at all these things, and all of a sudden you look around and it's like, oh shit. Even the podcast, right? It's like, the podcast has, it starts with this amount of listeners and then this amount of listeners and you gain some and you lose some and all that shit. But long story long, you're getting better at making the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Getting that experience in.
Yeah. We're all just kind of doing this for, we sat down and said, we just want to have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we get comments all the time. Oh, that's all we need is another 4 guys in a room on a podcast. You know what I mean?
More dudes on mics. Yeah. That's what the world needs.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
We get that comments all the time.
Well, I absolutely feel that way, relative to thinking about myself putting out anything else. It's like, I don't know. I think the world's good on some of what I do. So you have to kind of like think about, all right, I think obviously you guys can and should be doing the podcast. Like I don't need to right now because it's like, I don't know. I just when I had a little local network here where we had a bunch of podcasts on a network, and they're really fun, and it was a great opportunity to have a bunch of people under one umbrella make a bunch of podcasts and like it, not like it, succeed, fail. But man, what a fucking learning experience! Oh, yeah, dude, and everybody, like the immediacy with which you can produce stuff now. Back in the day, good old George Lucas would say digital is going to be the great equalizer. It has been. Yeah. It absolutely has been and will continue to do so, to be so. But, it's like, what is your intentionality? It's like, if Nesto and Eli and Anthony are in the room going, oh, we're attached to this outcome. If we don't have 100,000 listeners or followers in the next X time, we're failing or whatever, or if we don't get the podcast award or whatever, or the local, Colorado Broadcast Association or, Thornton Business Leaders or whatever the shit is, like, well, we're not, you can focus on what you're not getting a million times. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
You guys are cool, good friends, good business partners. You love each other. You care about each other. You get at each other's necks, I'm sure, more than I'm aware of.
Oh, yeah.
You get tired of each other. You fight. You can't stand each other for a while. You're really high on each other for a while, and sometimes all on the same day.
Yeah, exactly.
But are you actively making an effort to do what you want to be doing?
Yep.
Yes. So this whole idea of making it is over. There's no making it. If you're making it, you're probably, blowing T-Mobile or something.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Doing something in the back room.
Yeah. You're making it in a way that is probably not commensurate with either your values or in a way that is, again, there are exceptions to the rule. Like, fucking right now, for God's sakes, all we can talk about in America is fucking Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney. Or like, all these, there can be new movie and TV stars. There's just less and less every year. And there's more and more streams and there's more and more content. But it's like, the rarefied air of like, holy shit, there goes, Harrison Ford, Meryl Streep, fucking whoever. Like that shit's gone, that's not gone, but since everybody's famous, it feels like everybody needs to be famous or you're not anybody.
I know dogs that are famous on TikTok,
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah, no, I follow several of my friends' dogs.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Well, because it's part of who they are. Yeah. And it fucks up my ratio of followers to whatever. But like I had an Instagram account for years where it was like had more followers, I was following less people, all that. Somehow got suspended, okay, just like randomly because the internet, right? No idea, just like no recourse. No, I have a new Instagram. I don't give a shit. It's private. I fucking follow people that I give a shit about, whatever, because it's like, okay, Joe Blow has 100,000 followers. Somebody else has 2 million followers, whatever. If that's the direction I want to go, great. But it's less appealing to me now than it ever has been.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, and how many, honestly, we can pay for all that, right?
Yeah, but what is your relationship like with your spouse?
Yeah.
No, exactly.
What is your relationship like with your friends? What is your relationship like with your children?
Yep.
Exactly.
Those are the things that like kind of fuel my boat now and make me sound old. But it's like, sure, of course, like I want commercial success for the things that I do and recognition, and those are all great. But like, it's not the thrust. Whereas for a while, it was like, yes, I'll be on any podcast. Yes, I'll be on any comedy show. Yes, I'll be in any TV thing. Yes, I'll do it. Because it's like, yes. And that has value. But also, when it all becomes about you and nobody else, it's a weird business.
Yeah.
It's a weird, again, famous or not, you sort of just get so self-involved in your own bullshit. And you realize, maybe I need to take a step back to become my mother's son again. You know?
Yeah.
Man, you're hitting us with a lot of philosophy. We're gonna start calling you Gandalf. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna start calling you on the weekends. And
we can just
do.
Yeah, we can just do. You know, I'll come in. We'll just do touch ups, and I'll just unload all of my
workshops. You
know,
right?
We could be your therapy, bro.
Yeah, that's right. I know. Who needs healthcare, man?
That's why we got that couch set up. You know, I mean, if you want, we could lay you down. And
that's so funny. The idea though that in America, like, just doing podcasts with your friends is healthcare.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what keeps us strong. Is we can come in and unload. And sometimes we're like, hey, we don't need a guest. Let's just
we're ready to flame.
Flame each other.
But we really appreciate you. Like I said, coming here to us.
Oh, dude,
you're massive to us. You
gave us a huge opportunity, whether it was big to you or not. It was big to us at the time.
Yeah, you didn't have to bet on our company. You know what I mean? And we appreciate that.
You guys bet on me. I bet on you. You know, and you guys are an absolute delight to work with and to know. And so, thanks for saying that. But there's not a lot of people in Denver, Colorado that have dope businesses. Well, there are a lot of dope businesses, but they're like,
oh shoot,
I shouldn't say that. But what I mean is that like the level of sincerity and genuineness that you guys come to everything with, and I think, to a person, talking to each of you, you guys you have a humility and an understanding that, we're not flexing all the time. And I appreciate you guys for that, because it's like, if a flex is doing something well, I think that's misunderstanding what a flex is. A flex is just sort of being like, I'm the most important person in the room, and here's why.
Yeah.
And there are times where that should be owned, and when you're on stage doing stand up or you're in a scene, you do want to have that mentality.
Yeah.
Outside of that mentality is pretty much useless in life.
Yeah, exactly.
So working with y'all has been a pleasure, and it was an easy decision to do a bunch of business with y'all and put your commercials on the air. And
we look forward to doing more business with you.
Same.
Whatever you dabble in, we're going to be there for you.
Yeah, same.
Whatever you need from us, we'll definitely bend over backwards to help you out.
I do have questions about some things that we can talk about off the air, but I agree, and it's a pleasure and an honor, gentlemen.
Oh yeah, and I got one more question for you.
Oh yeah, we're good. Like we're on whatever time you guys want.
So what would you tell that little Andy in the basement watching that black and white TV? What would you tell him now?
I would tell him worry a lot less, because worrying is only good when it's functional.
Okay.
Like spending your time worrying about what you're not doing and being paralyzed by that is a waste of your energy.
Oh yeah.
Start something, see it through, and then just to remember what's who you are and what's important, and that's enough. Not seeking acceptance in ways that are destructive or ways that are a result of things that weren't so great growing up or whatever else. Like, those things shouldn't be little Andy's identity. Little Andy's identity is that he's a kind, sweet person that's trying to figure it out like everybody else.
Oh yeah.
And that is really fucking cool. And that the prize is you and not everything out here.
Yeah, all
the prize
material,
the prize is you, right?
Yeah.
But the royal you, everyone listening to this, you are the prize. There is nothing out there on TikTok, in the fucking movies.
Yeah.
Going to Mars. There is nothing out there that is like. By the way, I'm ready to go to space.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, there's nothing like externally that that little Andy should have been chasing. All of that shit he had right there the whole time, and
all there.
It's taken a long time to figure that out. But thank God it did.
Oh, yeah. Right on, Andy. Awesome, I appreciate you, brother.
We appreciate you.
Great words to leave us with.
Appreciate you guys. Everybody listen to Rise and Grind. Subscribe. These guys rule. Let's go.
Oh, baby. We're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time.
Yes.
Cheer.
Rise and Grind.